I tried to make a game in an evening. You may be thinking, that could be done if it's a really simple game. Well yes, that is true. In fact, I've done it before. I made a Flappy Bird clone in like 2 hours. So why is this time different? Well, this time, I wasn't going to use an engine. In case you don't know, a game engine is a piece of software that helps development of games by handling things like physics, graphics, positions, and usually many other features that you may never need. Game engines like Unity have UI that massively help with development and show things like objects in a level and what each object does. However, Monogame is different. What is Monogame, you may ask? Well, in simple terms, it's a very simple game engine that handles drawing graphics, creating a game loop, and a few other things that make life a bit easier. But unlike other engines, it doesn't have a user interface and everything is done in a code editor. Why use Monogame if you could just use Unity? Well, if you must know, some people prefer to be able to code their own physics and frameworks as it's their code and they know exactly what it does, whereas in Unity you don't know much about the engine's backend and you just know it works. However, I was bored, so I set myself this very unrealistic challenge. If you have eyes, you probably noticed the code being written in the background. Well, that code is me writing the player class. A class is basically just a set of functions and variables that control an object. This class controls the physics of a player and makes a player move based on its velocity. This is technically a really bad physics engine that just controls one object and is a hard-coded mess. When the player places space, we set the y velocity to a number that is larger than 0. This makes the player go up and then eventually fall back down. After I finished with the player, I started coding the pipe class with about an hour left to finish. For a pipe to be a threat to the player, I needed a way to detect if the player was in contact with a pipe. This would have taken much longer than an hour to do, so I was very lucky that I already coded a very basic collision system in the past that could easily be implemented into this game. It checks to see if one sprite is overlapping the other, then if there is a collision, it returns the name of said sprite. This means I can code the carrot to check if it has collided with an object called pipe, and this would in turn kill the player. Before adding collision, I had to code pipe logic, and this is a fairly simple concept that consists of moving the pipe along the screen at a set speed and Y position. At this point, however, I knew I was never going to finish this project, so I finished coding the pipe with 5 minutes to spare. I ended up with this. Hello, as I am filming this, it is a day after I quote-unquote finished this project, as it was like 11 o'clock at night and I really didn't want to film this out of embarrassment, but I've come and I've accepted that this challenge was never really supposed to happen and it was really stupid. So if I run this, you can see that I didn't get very far at all, and I got pipes spawning in, but there's no collision, and as soon as that one's off the screen, it's gonna keep moving forever. So I quite like nothing about this, to be honest. It's quite a miserable project. But at least I tried it and I failed it. So yeah. I tried to make a game without an engine in 2 hours, but I failed. And that's okay, we don't win everything in life. And I know I'm definitely going back to Unity.